thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I am super excited that my guest, Tracy L, is here. And she's going to tell you exactly who she is and what she does and how she can help you and where to find her. So, Tracy, take it away.
Hey, Tammi, thank you so much for having me here with you today. I'm super excited to be here with everybody.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to go through and tell you a little bit about myself. On Facebook, I'm listed as Tracy L, Tracy E-L. My last name is Eleftheriadis, and it is Greek. And I love my Greek roots, but really what I love more is just my ability to empower female entrepreneurs with powerful habits in order to help them boost their inner confidence. And I do that through teaching them different tools to help them relax their nervous system and work with them to really create a new reality for themselves. Because really, when you think about it, what we are is we're just a set of patterned behaviors. And it's easier than any of us can imagine to think about how we can change who we are. And I talk about changing our mind.
Yes. Yes.
So as we go through that, it's easier to do than it seems. But I do that a lot with people through using tapping.
Yes.
The emotional freedom technique.
Yes. Tapping is amazing. Tapping is amazing. Sometimes I use that just like this. Like sometimes if I feel some type of anxiety popping up, especially like if we're doing, something that is outside of my comfort zone, I'll just tap, and I know that helps. I don't even go through the whole script. I'll just tap. And that is amazing.
I know that the listeners cannot see where you're tapping, but you're tapping like on your collarbone, which is one of those points that we tap on. And I feel like we all find our favorite place. Because like for me, I love the collarbone. Like a lot of times I'll just set my hand over that, not necessarily on my heart, but just so I have the pressure there. And that allows me to continue to flow through my day. I love that so much.
Yes, I do too. I think it's just, I don't know who discovered it because I haven't gone that deep, but just doing it and actually creating them and all that, I think it's amazing because I feel like it's another manifestation technique, because
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Well, I think that like, because you brought up that point, that's a manifestation technique, I really believe that before we can bring anything else in, that we have to clear out the space for that to come in and then be in that place of receiving.
Yes.
But as you think about like clearing out the negative, clearing out all of that junky stuff that we have inside of us, those feelings that nobody likes to talk about, that's what tapping does.
Yes.
It allows us to take off that layer so we're more accessible to what, and the energy that's out there is more accessible to us. And we have that extra space in us that's been cleared out after we do the tapping and do that kind of work.
Yes.
So that there's a place for all of that to come in when we are manifesting, because nobody manifests negative things. We all want these positive things to come into our world.
Right. We've been doing that already for decades.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's part of that patterning that we just let go of.
Yes.
When we look at going through this transformational work together, and we learn how to tap, but also learning how to breathe properly is a huge aspect of becoming a better human being.
Yes. Talk about where you came from. Let's go
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Because you weren't always in this, you didn't come out the womb in this space, like most of us.
Right, right, right. So, as I think about like where I came from before I got into coaching, I taught high school, and I wasn't your typical high school teacher who just had her students grab a book and open their notebooks and take notes. I love to have everything be an experience.
Yes.
And in preparing people for this experience, even if they're high school kids, or my clients or whoever, or even you, as we have our conversation together,
Yes.
I want to make sure that we're all in a good space energetically.
Yes.
So as a high school teacher, I was very aware of course, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and making sure that my kids, when they came to class, if they were tired, or if they were hungry, or if they needed something else, that is what I met them with at that level. Because we can't expect people to learn and to transform if they're stuck in this other place because they're hungry or because they're tired.
Yes.
Where we have to allow our compassion to rise up. And so I was able to develop a lot of really great relationships with my students. I also ran a yoga program at the school, after school, a free yoga club, which is another aspect of the coaching that I do now, where I bring in breath work and yoga. Of course, it's better in person. It's easier for everybody in person.
Yes.
But moving our bodies is so important.
Yes, yes, yes. So what was the catalyst that, brought you to doing this work? I mean, what made you decide that you could, okay, so I'm not doing teaching. I'm going to move into, helping humanity in a different way. So what was the catalyst? Because typically we all have catalysts that move us.
Yeah. For me, it wasn't something that was a pleasant experience necessarily, where I was caught up in the hustle of my world. And I just got to a point where I was developing a lot of anxiety. And eventually it moved over to where I was experiencing chronic pain. And that was my body's way of telling me, hello, you
Pay
need to start
attention.
doing, yeah. If you're not listening to me yet, I'm going to get your attention because I'm going to keep going. And probably, I mean, as you can imagine, it starts out on a low level.
Yes.
And we choose to not listen to it and just keep motoring through with our same habits.
Yeah.
And not taking time off to sleep.
Yes.
And just connect with, I think that when we sleep, that's really when we get to connect with our angels.
Yes.
And listen to those voices.
Yes.
But just taking the time to realize that there is no magic pill.
Yeah.
Because I looked for it. I spent a lot of money trying to figure out what was wrong with me.
Woo! I was gonna say, preaching to the choir. Yes, ma'am. I understand that completely. Like, there's got to be a magic pill because they said that in what was that show, Jack and the Beanstalk? Was it? Yeah, a magic beans. There's got to be a magic pill somewhere. Somebody had to develop it, but no, there's not a magic pill. There's not. What about the magic coaching program? What about that one?
Right. or like what you were talking about earlier, where we communicate with like dead people through that, and the answers are there.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
looking all around us for the answers, looking everywhere except for inside of us.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's just the one place that we should be looking. You know, but it's almost like I think about it in this way. When people say, what was that thing that people always say? When nothing else works, then try God. Maybe you should try God first.
Right.
You know, and it's kind of the same concept, I think. You know, it's like, okay, you know, we're getting all these messages, you know, because you and I spoke about that. That's how we connected.
Right.
I was like, you know what, I've been sick for like a year, you know, just off and on. Every time I turn around, you know, either I feel like I was either sick or in recovery, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And now I feel like I'm in recovery now from just all the years and years of burnout that I was in, that I just kept going because because I just got the gnat effect is what I call it. I got the gnat effect. You know, little things bother
Right.
me. Get
Yeah.
away, get away, you know. And then the mosquito came, you know.
I get that. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I got just a little nuisance, you know. Oh my God, you know, like I had an instance one time where um I had worked so much and so hard that I couldn't even get out of bed. I had vertigo, like so bad. I couldn't even get vertical. I had to like crawl to the bathroom. It was horrible. And they couldn't find anything. It was just my body said, no, you're exhausted. You're going to stay here behind the bed.
Well, and our brain is still not realizing that. Our
Right.
brain then goes to, they don't believe me.
Yes.
And that makes us feel like we're lying to ourselves and
Yeah.
to everybody else, or that we're faking it when
Yes.
we're not faking it.
No.
Like at one point, Tammi, I thought I was losing my mind.
Yeah. Been there
And
too.
I was just like, this is real. Everything is real. We're sorry, Tracy. There's nothing wrong with you. We can't find anything. The good news is your blood work is perfect. You run 3 times a week. You go to yoga 4 or 5 times a week. You're perfectly healthy. Here, take these pills.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
there is something else. There's like some shroud that's over me, something
Yes.
that is being covered up, and something that I'm trying to escape from with this illness, or whatever, however it showed up, with this
Yeah.
pain.
Yes.
Because ultimately what I figured out was, when you look at like Ayurveda and yoga and those sorts of teachings, there's something that's called our vikalpa. And our vikalpa is basically lies that your brain tells to itself.
Mm-hmm.
And mine was that I wanted to be sick and alone so that everybody would leave me alone. Because I was the go-to person for everybody. Everybody at work, everybody in my family, all of my friends. Give it to Tracy, she'll get it done. And so then when I got sick in quotation marks, and I felt better when I was by myself, because my nervous system wasn't getting those hits and those triggers weren't happening. So
Yeah.
I could really like exhale.
Yeah. So you were justified
Mm-hmm.
in having so you feel like there's a place where we can decide and actually manifest these things into us because of how we feel. Oh my God.
Yeah. Well, that, and then like, so getting to a place where we recognize how we feel,
Mm-hmm.
but then also realizing in our heads that this is not how we want to be.
Yeah.
Like how I want to be. I want to be a light. I want to be a healer for myself first, is how it worked out.
Yes.
And so in looking at all of the different like rabbit holes that I got to go down
Yeah.
in trying to figure out what was wrong with me, because the doctor said there's nothing wrong with you. Here, take these pills.
Well, at least they gave you pills. They said it was nothing wrong with me and didn't give me a thing. They're like, we don't know. Your lab works perfect. There's nothing, I think I had something like the absolute monophils or something like that. That really just means that you're dealing with something or you dealt with something. It can mean you had an infection or you have an infection or something is going on, which we knew that, but that was it. And nothing. I was like, are you negating how I feel? One time I went in, the first thing they said to me was, we can't give you any opioids. And I thought,
right.
I don't want no opioids. So you're right. Stepping into recognizing how we feel. That is so huge. That is so huge.
Yeah. For that part, that is a huge part. And I think that that's one of the things that I love a lot about you, when you just embody this whole part of your feelings.
Yeah.
And in our conversations, allow me to do the same.
That is so amazing, because I don't even think like that, but it's something that I have worked on. I've been working, and I've done a lot of work, and I'm still working, but it's like that was like something that I had to shake free from, because I think we talked before. I was like, I had to stay in divine masculine because that was what was necessary. And so now it's like, no, I don't have to do that. I can actually listen to my feelings, because even growing up, I think about that. Even growing up, my mother, you didn't stay home sick. I think I remember having the flu, and she sent me to school because she was like, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize until doing this healing work on myself that was a thing. I was like, oh wow,
Right.
Yeah, my mom was pretty hard, so it's like, okay, so I grew up like that, and I kind of was like, all right, and then I stepped into that where I had to be, the person and all that stuff, and so it was like, no, I can't, I hardly ever called in sick, things like that, because I was like you, the go-to person. So that makes total sense when you feel trapped and you create these situations so that you can get out of the trap. That's awesome.
Well, honestly, like when I got to the point where I could feel all of my feelings, and I knew there was something up with that, then in doing the research and finding that there are plenty of other people like us out there. Like, we are not alone.
No.
And in recognizing that, then knowing that there are other people who have found the answer as well. And my answer is not everybody's answer, but I do know that when I look at tension myositis syndrome, that encompasses almost every affliction that you can go to the doctor for. When you get a cold, when you get an upset stomach, especially our stomachs, because we feel so much into our stomach.
Yes.
That's where all of our good, like the serotonin, is made. So making sure that our gut health is good, which is, really the reason why I wanted to become a health coach. So I could look at all of the different aspects of what can we do in going back to the basics. How much water are you drinking? What kind of food are you putting in our body?
Yes.
You talked with me earlier about sleep and the importance of that.
Yes.
Eating, drinking, sleeping, exercising, and then having fun. Like, we forget, like, especially as women, like how important it is for us to have fun.
Yep. and also just embodying, and I always talk to people about, embodying those things that you did as a kid for fun. Like
Yeah.
I want to go roller skating because that I used to
Yeah.
love, you know. Now I've been trying to convince my husband, but he said he'll go and watch me, so he'll just go watch. He said I can't fall down on my knees. I said okay. But just just little things, and even honoring stuff like, like a lot of times, like I like to read, but over the years, you work, 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 work. You don't have time, and then when you're off, you sleep or you're, doing whatever. And so I was like, okay, that's one of the things that I enjoy. So I picked that back up and I started, reading, and not just reading for education, reading for entertainment,
Yeah.
and things like that. And that, to me, that is like so important to get that time in, because everybody, like you said, they're looking at what they're eating, what they're drinking. Are you drinking enough water? How are you exercising? All of that kind of stuff. But how are you having fun?
Exactly.
How are you honoring that little girl within you?
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like the important part of what we do is we show people that it is possible to heal.
Yeah.
It is possible to to be back at 100+%.
Yes.
And it is possible to create a business that we can, that we can really thrive in,
Yes.
and where we can help other people get what they want as well.
Yes. And that we can love.
Yeah,
Because
for
I've
sure.
been really, really, diving into that recently. I was like, I just, I want to love, what I do. And I want to love, my clients and helping them and seeing their wins and their aha moments and celebrating with them. That's something that's like big for me, and I was telling a friend of mine, I said, I said, one thing I love about working with clients is I want to show them love because, and the way that I do it is I send them something and they don't even know that it's coming. I just send them a gift and I say, hey, this is for you, because I want
Awesome.
them to feel loved and I want them to feel held, because that's what we all want.
Yeah.
But people don't often think about that. Everybody wants to, grab your coins and all that stuff, and that's good because we need coins. But I want them to feel like, like somebody is in their corner, because a lot of people, that's how they feel. They feel like, they're alone,
Mhm.
especially when they come in these arenas. They feel like they're alone and there's nobody but them. And, they're going
Mhm.
through this and, especially if they don't have other people that they can reference, like they don't have any friends that have been through that or, anything like that. They feel alone, and so I felt that before, so I know how that feels. So I never want anybody to feel alone, you know?
Yeah, just a lot of what you talked about is where I've positioned my business. I do a lot of free coaching. I have a free Facebook group, and I do a lot of free tapping with people. I mean, really, it is, there's no cost to that, to learn how to tap for yourself. It's
Yes.
just getting yourself repatterned to where you are going to then either be held accountable from a coach, or you're going to hold yourself accountable, because it works. All of the methods that I use in my business are scientifically backed, every
Mhm.
one of them. And the process that I lead people through and step them up into this place where they can really repattern their
Yes.
nervous system.
Mhm.
And I like to call it really just changing their own mind. Because when you think about it, Tammi, our patterns were set as children.
Yes.
They're completely set up then. By the time we're 26 years old, it's pretty much cemented in. And then you look at like us as women in midlife, our 40s and our 50s, and look at like the idea of changing that. When we even consider that, we get very uncomfortable. So the key to repatterning that is to get our nervous system to really relax.
Yeah.
And to do that, I feel like tapping is a perfect modality, because what it does is it helps us to clear out the negative aspects of whatever's holding us back. Nobody wants to talk about that. I mean, most people are like, oh, just smile, it'll be okay. Or just be positive. Well,
Just
I'm
be
sorry.
positive.
I'm sorry, but there are days when I want to deal with the negative, because that is so freeing.
Yes, I was gonna say, yes, that was my day yesterday. I was like, I gotta go to the beach because I need to decompress and deal with this stuff, and then after that, I'm good, and it really did happen exactly like that. I had to go do a little screaming, different things, and then I said, okay, all right, here I am, here I am. So share a little bit about if you have anything coming up, or you have any offers that you want to talk about, or and also where people can find you when they're looking for you. All of the links and all of that is going to be in the show notes as well, but she's going to share right now anything else she wants to share.
Awesome. Thank you, Tammi. So right now I have, well, and all the time, I have my free Facebook group. And through the first part of this year, I've been doing free tapping sessions with people to get them introduced to the process of getting there. I also have offers out there where we can connect and create a script specifically for you with your own words. The thing about that is, that's really interesting, is when your brain starts to realize that you're on to it, because all of our behavior comes from our brain, every bit of it. Our brain likes to experiment. And when you're using my words, for example, it works. The tapping works, but it works even faster when you get to use your words.
Yes.
So as I go through and work with people to help them create their own tapping script, it just accelerates everything. And then going through the process of setting up goals with people in my one-on-one program, for example, and just getting them set up so that they can find success in that way. So my one-on-one program is set up at 90 days, because I feel like that's the time that we need, at least that much time to start to scratch the surface. Because you figure you've been setting yourself up for the last 46, 47, 50 years with these patterns. We need to have 90 days of work to get you started on this new path of yours. So that's the minimum that I work at. There also are group programs that I have running now. I just started one last week. And in that one, I'm working specifically with online entrepreneurs and coaches, because I feel like there are a lot of things that we need to work on clearing out so that we can really accelerate our business. And that way we can reach more people and help them get better in turn.
Yes. That's awesome. That is awesome. So if somebody is watching you, and they're saying, well, I don't know, maybe I'm not ready. What would you say to them?
I always encourage people to just get curious and to reach out. I mean, it's just a call. I have other packages that are lower than my 90-day program that people are able to jump into. And as I said, I have a lot of free things going on in my Facebook group, so they can get to know themselves better and get into the process, and just to get curious.
And what is the name of your group?
My group is called the Alignment Project.
Okay. All right. So y'all heard it first. The Alignment Project. Go and jump in Tracy L's group. It is amazing. And I'm just super excited and grateful just to be able to have her on the show, sharing all of her magic, because she is magic. So you guys check her out. All of her links and stuff will be in the show notes. So you can just go and click on them and find her. She's definitely on Facebook. I don't know what other platforms that she's on as well, but you can probably Google her. So thank you so much, Tracy, for joining me today. This has been amazing. We definitely have done something today with this information, because even the tapping is amazing. I mean, it's a tool that you can use anywhere, with anything. And the fact that she helps you to create your own scripts, that is priceless. That's priceless.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to continuing our relationship, Tammi.
Yeah.
And also to starting a relationship with any of you out there that are listening to us. And as I said, just reach out, just get curious.
Yeah.
And you can start to change your life then too.
Yep. All righty. So thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. I will see you next time. And if you are changing the planet and you would like to come on Straight Outta Savannah and talk about it, you know how to find me. I'm Googleable as well. Thank you so much for joining. Bye now.